Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Speedroid Yugioh deck profile for post-Duel Overload. With the release of Duel Overload, we received two new Pendulum Monsters, which really do help for the overall Synchro Summon playstyle that the Speedroid deck is meant to do. I really do like the deck, focusing on mostly all wind monsters for the special summon limitation that some of these Speedroid monsters give you. Makes for a very fun extra deck for all the different Synchro Summoning plays, and with Master Rule 5 focusing on Synchro Monsters as our big go-to play, since we don't have to use the extra Monster Zone anymore to summon out those Speedroid Synchro Monsters, along with all the other cool Synchro Monsters we can summon out, like Clearwing, Dragon, and also Crystal Wing. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Speedroid monsters, I run 3 Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. Like I said, the focus of the Speedroid deck is just to easily synchro summon out a bunch of different wind synchro monsters, including some Speedroid ones. When this card's normal summon, you can target one level 3 or lower Speedroid monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So as long as you have the tuner set up in your graveyard, it's an easy summon into whichever synchro monster you want to go for with your Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. Or if you want to rely on another link play, you can go for High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter, which is your Speedroid link monster, just needing 2 wind monsters to summon it, which all of the Speedroid monsters are wind, so very easy to accomplish this as well. And I also run 3 Speedroid Horse Stilts. If you don't want to go for the graveyard play, Horse Stilts helps by special summoning the one from your hand. When it's normal summon, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Speedroid monster from your hand. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to send one wind monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Speedroid Horse Stilts once per turn. So this tuner setup in your graveyard for Horse Stilts just helps for the fact that next turn when you use this effect, you can then summon out Double Yo-Yo, being able to banish Horse Stilts from your graveyard to send a tuner that you can set up with Double Yo-Yo, just in the case the card you summoned out with Horse Stilts itself wasn't a tuner monster, or wasn't the tuner monster you want to summon back with Double Yo-Yo, depending on if you want to go for, let's say, a level 5 or a level 7 synchro play. And I also run 3 Speedroid Tekken Tomborg. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can tribute this card to special summon 1 Speedroid tuner from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except for wind monsters. You can only special summon Speedroid Tekken Tomborg once per turn. So with this card, you just have the option to go for your tuner. If you already have, let's say, another Speedroid monster on the field, it's just an easy special summon, then being able to special summon whichever one of the Speedroid tuners we have in the deck onto the field as well for that assistance. But the only thing it limits you is the wind part of its special summon, but we run all wind monsters in the extra deck, so we're not really, limited to that card. For a good majority of the extra deck being wind monsters, we're not really limited to what we can special summon with Tekken Tomborg. And also for some of the one-ofs for the non-tuner effect monsters for the Speedroid deck, I run 1 Speedroid Ohaji Kid. When it's normal summon, you can target 1 tuner monster in either player's graveyard, special summon it to your side of the field, and if you do immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 wind synchro monster using that monster in this card only. Just a good way to use either your opponent's tuner or your own in the graveyard quickly to go into a synchro play that you can use against your opponent. And sadly, at one of the 1 Speedroid Terratop, just this card was used so much in other decks, so this deck had to suffer for it. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, except for Speedroid Terratop. You can only use this effect of Terratop once per turn, but what makes Terratop so good is just an easy special summon, searching out your Tomborg, which then you can summon out onto the field, and then tribute it for your tuner to go into one of your other plays on the field. But sadly, you have to rely on just one of it in the deck, but still very, very useful when we open it up for our plays. And then that's it for the non-tuner monsters. For the Speedroid tuner monsters, I run 2 Speedroid Tri-Eye Dice. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the next attack this turn from a monster your opponent controls. It is a quick effect, so if you could set this card up in your graveyard with some other cards like Speedroid Horse Stilts, it just makes for that much more of a protection play, being able to banish it for your opponent. So either you don't go for the synchro play or just rely on it in your graveyard to protect you from attacks. But one of my favorite tuners to use in the deck is Speedroid Red-Eye Dice. When this card is normal or special summon, you can target one Speedroid monster you control except Speedroid Red-Eye Dice. Declare a level from 1 to 6. It becomes that level until end of this turn. So if you summon this card out after let's say you use Terratop to special summon then Tomborg, and then tribute Tomborg to summon out your Red-Eye Dice, you can adjust the level of your Terratop to be a level 6, and then go for your level 7 Synchro Play, or any Synchro Play in between those levels also. And Speedroid Red-Eye Dice is also a level 1 tuner, so after you have your level 7 out, you special summon it back onto the field, you can go for your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon Play also. And I also run 3 Speedroid Denden Daiko Duke. You can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon one Speedroid tuner monster from your hand or graveyard except Denden Daiko Duke. You can use this effect of Denden Daiko Duke once per turn. But with the Horse Stilts setup, being able to send Wind Monster from your deck to the graveyard with this card as well, you can set up Denden Daiko Duke, let's say if you have the other tuner in your hand and not on the field also for your plays. That's why I like to run 3 of this card. You can easily Foolish Burial set up this, or even just special summon it from your hand using your Speedroid Horse Stilts, then going for the Synchro Play, being able to set it up in your graveyard, which I'll go over the play to go into your Crystal Wing pretty easily using this card in the deck as well. And now, moving on to the Pendulum Monsters. For the new Pendulum Monsters in the deck, I'm running 3 Speedroid Marble Machine. Not only is it a scale 1, along with the new scale 6, to easily pendulum summon out your Speedroid monsters onto the field, but once per turn, when your defense position monster is targeted for an attack, you can change it to face-up attack position. Also cannot be destroyed by battle this turn, even if it leaves the field. And when this card is normal summoned, you can activate this effect, add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except for Wind Monsters. You can use this effect of Marble Machine once per turn. I'd call it a tiny Terratop, just for the fact that it still gives you your search for you to go into Tekken Tomborg on the field, and then do the same play that we did with Terratop. The only difference is it being a normal summon for the deck. And I also run 3 Speedroid Hexa Saucer. You can target one Wind Monster Synchro that is banished or in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck. You can only use this effect of Hexa Saucer once per turn. And its monster effect is both players take any damage from attacks involving this card, and any battle damage from battles involving this card is halved. If this card is destroyed in the Pendulum Zone, you can special summon 1 face-up Speedroid Pendulum from your extra deck. So just more special summoning options for your extra deck Speedroid monsters. Since the Pendulum ones won't be sent to the graveyard, they'll go to the extra deck. So a good way to recycle those cards using this one also. And I also run 3 Speedroid Passing Glider. It's an easy special summon from your hand. Also being able to send 1 Speedroid tuner from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard to increase or reduce this card's pendulum scale, depending on what you need. Helps for more of the higher scale or lower scale. That's why I like to run the ratio of 3 Marble Machine and 3 Hexa Saucer, being a high and low scale, but then also being able to adjust Passing Glider, which is already a lower scale card on the field also. And just that special summon and add back effect when it's tribute summon helps for the overall consistency to get out one of your Speedroid cards. And that is it for the monsters. Wanted to focus on mostly a pure Speedroid deck, which they all run very, very well together. And with the high monster count, you just have very good consistency to summon out your Synchro monsters each turn. For the spells, I run 3 Speed Recovery. Target 1 Speedroid monster in your graveyard. Special summon it during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Speedroid monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. So special summon power, and then next turn add back power, depending on the Speedroid monster you want to go for. It's a definite 3 of them in the deck, being the main focus for all the plays that the deck is meant to do. And one of our newer cards in the deck is Speedlift. This one came out in Dark Neostorm. If you control exactly 1 tuner and no other monster, special summon 1 level 4 lower Speedroid monster from your deck. Neither player can activate card or effects when that monster is special summoned. So this just gives you access to more of your link plays as well. If you control the tuner monster, and then being able to special summon that level 4 lower Speedroid monster, depending on which one it was, from your deck onto the field also. And for some more destruction plays with the deck, I also run 2 Shock Surprise. You banish up to 2 Speedroid monsters from your graveyard, then target that many cards on the field, destroy them. So the banish effect helps, especially with this, but then also being able to use your Hexa Saucer play, let's say to recycle your Wind Synchro, being one of your Speedroid ones, let's say, back to you for you to reuse in the deck. Shock Surprise just helps to take care of some pesky back row of your opponents also after you set up one of your Synchro plays, or just have plenty of Speedroid monsters set up in the graveyard. And with machine monsters being a big focus for us to go for in the deck, I'm running 3 limiter removal. You can hit for some pretty big damage with this deck, especially if you summon out your high Speedroid Chambara and then just double its attack with limiter removal. Being able to attack twice, you could potentially go for game as well using this card. And for some of the one-ofs, just the 1 Monster Reborn and the 1 Foolish Burial. Didn't focus on any traps in this deck since you want to go for big synchro plays, and setting traps and all that would just take away from overall how many synchro plays you can get using your Speedroid monsters in the deck. But Foolish Burial, more graveyard setup, and Monster Reborn just gives you more resources on the field, both being very, very helpful depending on the play you want to go for. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck for the Synchro Monsters. For the Speedroid ones, I run 1 high Speedroid Kite Drake, a level 8 monster needing 1 Wind Machine Tuner and 1 or more non-tuners. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can activate one of these effects. Destroy all other cards on the field. Negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. Or if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of high Speedroid Kite Drake once per turn. The destruction effect really makes it like Black Rose Dragon, but depending on either if you want to go for Crystal Wing or High Speedroid Kite Drake, you have both of these level 8 options to use in the deck also. And not even needing a Synchro Monster for Kite Drake is another plus also. But I also run 1 High Speedroid Hygota, just another level 5 option for the Speedroid deck. Same with Chambara, this is your OTK potential, using limiter removal for sure. Also running 1 Kendama, a level 6 play for more setup for some of your bigger plays, which are your Clear Wing Synchro Dragon and your Crystal Wing, being the main focus of Yugioh also in the anime, to summon out Clear Wing and Crystal Wing. But depending, like I said, what you want to go for with Kite Drake or your Clear Wing, you have both the options available to you in the deck. And for some of the more generic wind monsters, I run 1 Mistborn Clausolus for the level 3. For the level 4 plays, Old Entity Hastor, 1 Stardust Charge Warrior, and 1 Stardust Dragon, and 1 Mistworm, just having all the different level Synchro Monsters as options to go into in the deck as well. For the Link Monsters, I run 2 High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooters, just being more set up for your Speedroid plays with this one, because you can immediately, after this effect resolves, normal 1 Win Monster onto the field, which just gives you more plays to go for. And also, I run 1 Great Fly for boosting up the Wind Monsters on the field, and the 1 Crystron Halqifibrax to help with just additional special summonings of your tuner monsters onto the field for you to use. It's a water monster, so remember that when you're limited for some of your wind plays, but still like to run it as that option. If you don't have the Crystron Halqifibrax, you can always replace this for a Wind Charmer Link monster, being a wind monster to fully make the entire extra deck wind as well. But some of your big plays you can go for in the deck also, just relying on the horse stilts. If you open up, let's say, these 3 cards in your hand, you can then also summon out your horse stilts onto the field, using its effect to special summon out Red Eye Dice, and then going for the Link 2 play into your High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter, which during the main phase you can immediately, after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Wind Monster. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except for Synchro Monsters, and with this you summon out your Speedroid monster, and it's only from the extra deck you're limited. With this double yo-yo, you're then able to summon out your Red Eye Dice onto the field, using its effect to adjust the levels of your monsters on the field, and then go into whichever Synchro Monster you wanted for the levels you adjusted using your Rubber Band Shooter, and then also being able to banish a Wind Synchro Monster to reveal Speedroid monsters with different ones from your deck whose total level equal the levels of the Synchro Monster you revealed, and add them to your hand for more plays to continue on the next turn after you obviously summoned out whichever Synchro Monster you wanted with the play. Just needing these 3 monsters, or even being able to set up the same play if you get out some of your other cards like Terror Top or Tekken Tomborg, just being a little more difficult since we only have the 1 Terror Top in the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Definitely a fun deck to look into if you love synchro summoning, especially with Master Rule 5, since we're not limited with Link Monsters anymore with this deck for the plays. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.